The update in the old drain field. Bought an expensive catch basin, 16-inch by 30 PVC pipe going under the slab, connecting to the original cesspool, with a 4-inch drain line with a screen. Right here is about an 8-foot diameter hole, 6 feet deep, filled with rocks to 5 feet deep with a foot of dirt on top. Laid the pipe down on top of a nice healthy 1 foot thick bed of rocks. It's perforated 4-inch PVC. Covered it with a sock. The sock is supposed to eliminate the use of rocks, but I'm using it anyway. And this is at 45 feet from where I started. I'm going to put a clean out T right here, run another 45 feet, another clean out T, which the 45 feet falls right here in this little area. And from there I'm going to go the rest of the way. I got 140 foot total of drain field required. But a house with a family of 4 is required for 100 foot of drain field. I'm gonna have 140. Should be good. Should be good. Machine seems to be doing all right. It's doing its job. I did split the wells for this one outrigger. See the bottom plate separating? So now every time I lift and dig, I hear creaking as that metal opening and closing, rubbing each other. That's something I need to address, do some welding on that. I did break a tooth on the bucket. Besides that, she's holding up well. Trying to keep it greased and maintained. Still didn't address the starter issue. I mean, it works and I need it. So it's gonna keep running until it don't run. Yesterday, I must start about 15 times with the starter, no issues. Today, doesn't start. Then check all the wire and unplug it, clean it for corrosion. That's not the problem. It's probably just this cheap solenoid, but it's not a major problem. It starts up fairly easy. My umbrella I no longer have. A big gust of wind took it and demolished it. So I'm out here suffering the sun. It's a 109 heat index today, so it's cooking fairly good. But yeah, the machine's doing great. I still don't have an adapter to mount my phone to a tripod to get a video of it working, but this is just like all the China ones. It's a beast of a machine. It's too powerful for its own good. It'll destroy itself. I mean, I run the engine low RPM. It's a lot smoother to operate, and I can still run 3 functions at one time, possibly 4. But I still have the problem with my boom bleeding down. It's probably the seals in the cylinders, and my stick bleeds down. It's common in all these cheap China ones for the seals to bleed down and bypass, and like the stick will just slowly fall. So if I pull back on the boom slightly, the boom drops. I don't want to fix it because I kind of like that feature, because I can reach out and I can scrape and barely pull back on the boom, and it floats the way of the boom, and it scrapes pretty level. So I kind of like having that feature. I don't believe I'm going to fix it. I may replace the seals in the stick and have the stick to where it stops bleeding, but the boom, I think I'm going to leave it because it just works out so good, and I've learned to use the machine like that, and I hate to change it up now and have to relearn it differently, which will only take a couple hours. But she's doing good. When I originally got the machine, the stick was backwards. I swapped the 2 lines for the stick to where it was backwards, to where away was down and close it was up. I swapped it around to make it like a regular old excavator, to where away is away, forward is pulled towards you. She's doing great, other than minor issues. Still worth the money, because there's no way I would have dug any of this by hand, and there's no way I would have scooped them rocks by hand. This is rather large crushed concrete. It's not the smallest, but this is what I wanted for my drain field. You want, I guess, not really as big as possible, but you want tennis ball to softball size, maybe some golf balls in there. It's going to help that water seep to the ground, because unfortunately I do have clay, and water does not drain in clay. But I'm doing all of this work, which I don't think is going to be, I don't think any of this is ever going to have water in it other than rainwater, because for months I've been having an open hole on that end. I had this trench blocked off. There was no drain pipe. So if you look back at my previous video, there's an open hole right here, 8 foot by 6 feet deep. And I broke into my original cesspool wall and allowed that to overflow. And the purpose of doing that, my cesspool was like a 1,500 gallon. It was built in 1976, and it had a rather large collection of maxi pads, panty liners, tampons, condoms, lighters, razors, Q-tips. The people who lived here must not have had a garbage in the bathroom. They just put everything down the toilet. Well, anyway, I took my 2-inch trash pump, and I dropped the hose in the top because this was my only access to my tank, a 2.5-inch pipe. You can't get into this tank any other way. There's no access to get a pump truck in here. So I dug a big hole, broke it loose. It's a cinder block wall in there. The tank itself is only about 4 foot deep. So I would pump water in there. It would fill up and overflow, and all the unwanted items, the maxi pads and whatever else was in there, would spill out into this cavity, and then I'd have to do the dirty work, scoop it out and dispose of it. But back to what I was saying, for the past 2 months at least, I haven't had to pump this hole. I didn't have to get a pump truck over here. The water was just draining down on its own, and the level, I'd have about 2 foot air gap between the tank and the top of the concrete. It's never been like that. When I bought the house, the water will always stay about 6 inches below the slab, and this is a 6-inch thick slab. This is the lowest it's ever been, and I had the ditch blocked off here to where the water wasn't making it down there, and this portion of the ditch would always stay dry. So I don't think any of this drain pipe's ever going to get used. I think the big hole I dug here and backfilled with rocks was draining by itself, and this is actually a temporary cover from a fire pit that fits that nicely. I'm about to make an aluminum cover. The covers that come with these catch basins, an $80 catch basin, and then covers are $55, and they have 2 4-inch holes in the top. And so I'm going to cover it completely. This is only used as a catch basin to where if stuff does come out, it's going to overflow, drop in the sump way before it gets into the pipe and clog the drain field up. So I need to make probably a solid 3/8 aluminum lid. Hopefully that should be good. I guess I'll update in a couple months how the system's working once it's finished. I was able to get about 35 foot installed and covered yesterday. Today I'm going to work on another 45 foot. I was going to dig the ditch straight, but I figured I'm just going to go with it curved because I don't think it's going to get used anyway. I don't plan on digging it up again in my lifetime. I'm 42 and I don't plan on digging it up. I mean, if the original license is 1976, I ought to be good for at least 20 more years. Next time it gets trouble, we're just gonna pull it out and put a traditional wastewater management system in it. But yeah, I figured it was time for an update. I'm gonna try to locate my mount to put my phone on my tripod, or maybe find one of my other cameras to where you can see the machine in action. But it's boring work right now. I'm just really coming. I'm digging a little wider to straighten out the curve of this ditch a little bit, and I'm dumping rocks with my little cart and spreading around with the bucket. And I guess next I'm laying pipe, which is all pretty boring. But I'm getting there. It's almost done. Thank you for watching.